How are you doing? Welcome to YouTube channel HealthQ, the place where our mission is not only to motivate you but help you to move on to the bright side of the health. Well, this video is specially dedicated to facial posture. Yes, you heard me right. The way we have body posture, we have something called as facial posture too, which gets disrupted when you suffer from Bell's palsy or synkinesis. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips that you should follow about your facial posture while you are suffering from acute phase of Bell's palsy. At the same time, I'll give you 5 tips for you to follow about your facial posture when you are suffering from synkinesis. So, if this excites you, make sure to watch this video till the end. Let's begin. Friends, first let's understand posture. Posture is nothing but a position where your muscle stays static for a long period of time when you are not moving that muscle. Whenever we have got this altered posture, there is an increased muscle load on certain group of muscles, whereas there is an offloading on the other group of muscles. The muscle which carries or takes more load usually turns out to be more weaker, and the muscle which is not loaded much but is just kind of counteracting the weak muscle, it becomes stiff and tight. This imbalance of stiffness and weakness leads to a lot of posture issues, including it on your face. Now this amplifies when you have got a condition like Bell's palsy or synkinesis. So what happens to your facial posture when you suffer from acute phase of Bell's palsy? As you know, your one side of the face is paralyzed. There will be a strong pull that your facial muscles have to tolerate from the force of gravity. That's why you will observe there is a very strong droop on your eyebrows. There is a very strong droop around the corner of the mouth. You will observe that the cheeks also falls down. Now you must be wondering, why not the eye is falling down? It's because the muscle that is paralyzed is the one that closes the eyes against the pull of the muscle that pulls the eyes backward. Now the muscle that pulls your eyes backward and keep your eye open is not paralyzed. That's why you will observe that the eye doesn't droop when you have got acute phase of Bell's palsy. In fact, your eye looks bigger on the affected side compared to the non-affected side. Whereas, if we look at the synkinesis phase, that's where the muscle develops something called as hypertonicity or as increased tension. This is due to that constant feeling of weakness that leads to the brain to release more signals of power that needs to be reached on the face. Since it's reaching to the face but in an abnormal way, it leads to hypercontraction or hypertonicity of certain muscles, making them more stiffer and tighter. That's why you will observe that when you have got synkinesis, the muscle starts moving away from the gravity. You will observe that the eyebrows will be more tensed and raised compared to the normal side. The eyes will be more shorter compared to the normal side. The cheeks will be more pulled. The lips will be more pulled upward and outward towards the affected side. There will be a deep nasolabial fold. The corner of the mouth will be also pulled in the somewhere between downward and upward direction, and you will feel a tension and spasm being observed around the neck region. Here, the force that these muscles are exerting is far more greater being exerted by the force of gravity. That's why there is more stronger pulse and the face looks more lifted. In either of the scenario, the face symmetry gets affected. In the acute phase of Bell's palsy, the face on the good side looks more lifted versus the face on the affected side looks more drooped. This reverses in synkinesis where the face on the normal side, even though looks normal, looks slightly drifted downwards versus the affected side face starts getting pulled up in upward direction. Now if you see, both of the situations are not ideal for your face. That's why taking care of your facial posture is extremely important. But what is the ideal facial posture? Well, let me tell you. The ideal facial posture is the one where your facial muscles are in extreme relaxed state. For example, the eyebrows, the muscles around the eyes, the nasolabial fold, the cheek muscles are not being pulled upward nor being pulled down, but is resting in its original position, which is between the point of its beginning to the point of its end, where that muscle starts. In fact, there is a strong correlation between your jaw posture and your tongue posture, which influences a lot of your facial posture. If your tongue is stiff, if your tongue has a tongue tie, if your tongue is stiffer on one side, at that time there will be more stiffness felt on the tight side of the tongue. At the same time, if you have got jaw stiffness due to TMJ issue or any other dental problems, at that time also there will be difficulty in opening the mouth, which will cause deviations on the facial region. That's why facial posture is an ultimate important thing that you have to keep in mind. Same thing happens with your eyes. When your eyes are constantly being contracted because of the effect of contractions due to constant blinking, that's where there is a shortening of the eye muscles and your eye finds it difficult to open up wide. Similarly, when you have got acute phase of Bell's palsy, the muscle that closes the eye is so weak that you are not able to close it completely. That also creates a deviation of the eye aperture. So what are these 5 tips that I was talking about? Let's start first with the acute phase tips. What you should do about your facial posture where you are in early phase of Bell's palsy. Well, the first thing that you need to do is minimize the effect of gravity by adding more support to your face. You can do this with the help of kinesiotaping, facial taping, or even facial belt or splints. Facial taping, face belts and tapes can be used in different places. For example, if you have got a very drooped forehead muscle, then taping the forehead with the help of a kinesiotape can give you a lifting effect. Same thing, taping your eyes from inside to outwards in the upward and the lower eyelid region gives additional support to your eye muscles, gives that constant stretch which it needs to encourage the contraction of the eye movements. Similarly, taping of the cheek muscles whenever there is a lack of support of the cheek muscles because of weakness will give additional support to your cheek muscles, especially when you are speaking or when you are making wider expression. For cheeks, you can definitely go for a mouth split, a facial belt, or else a kinesiotape. If you observe that your lip corners are drooping a lot, at that time you can do taping around the mouth region. That also will give you a positioning which gives not only an understanding and feeling of right position, but at the same time prevents the unnecessary droop that your face is experiencing. The next thing that you need to do in order to reduce the effect of posture and correct the posture of the facial muscle is practice repeated neck extension. Yes, you heard me right. Now, whenever we have a forward head posture like this, there is a constant strain that falls on the neck muscle, which is connected to your drooped facial muscles. Now, this neck muscle called as platysma is also paralyzed in acute phase of Bell's palsy. When this is constantly in a strained position, even it is weak, that's where it starts impacting the other facial muscles, increasing the droop. That's why doing a constant chin tuck practice and constant extension practice where you kind of pull your neck and your upper body backwards gives a proper correction for some time, at the same time gives an understanding of what the right posture feels like and will help you to gain a better postural output. Next is, if you are in early phase of Bell's palsy, make sure to lie down or else lean backwards on your chair quite often. Since you are sitting, the effect of the gravity is highest because you are in the forward position and the gravity is directly impacting the corner of your mouth, your eyes, everything. But when you lie down or else when you lean backward and give support to your neck muscles, the effect or the impact of gravity reduces and allows your facial muscles some time to relax against that constant pull that the gravity is putting on them. Hence, we always say this, that the people who are suffering from acute phase of Bell's palsy, resting is quite an important thing. The fourth tip and the most important one is people who are in acute phase of Bell's palsy who cannot close the eyes completely, develop this practice of looking downwards at the tip of the nose multiple times in a day. Make sure you are not bending your neck, you are just looking down at the tip of the nose. This encourages the orbicularis oculi muscle to function and to work against the other muscle which is pulling your eyelids backward. That opens the eyes. So that will be a contradictory action and will allow you to reduce that stretch, to reduce that tightness that is likely to happen if this persists for a long period of time. And last but not the least, make sure to sleep on both sides of the face. Now here I see a lot of people make this mistake of avoiding sleeping on the affected side of the face, thinking that is going to harm their facial muscles, but that's not true. In fact, you can sleep on both sides of the face without any issues, and it is ideal to sleep on both sides of the face so that there is no overstrain falling on either side of the facial muscles. Remember, when you are suffering from Bell's palsy, yes, your one side of the facial muscles are paralyzed, but please understand this, that the good side of the face is doing that heavy lifting work for the affected side. That's why it also requires support, it also requires rest. That rest can be achieved by proper sleeping. And when you sleep on the affected side and the non-affected side both, you give an additional support and pressure to your cheek muscles, to your face, which is definitely needed, which is something that your face deserves. Now let's move on to the 5 tips for synkinesis patients. My first and the foremost tip is that you should stretch your tensed and hypertonic muscles often in the day. Now, if you don't know which of your muscles are tensed and hypertonic, please make sure to see a physical therapist or else a facial rehab therapist who have expertise in understanding this condition. They will be able to evaluate and help you understand which group of muscles are tensed and tight, and they will be able to give you a stretching practice routine which you can do multiple times in a day in order to reduce the effect of hypertonicity on these muscles. Tip number 2, make sure that whenever you are not doing anything, whenever your face is just working in your normal day, your tongue rests on the top of your palate, and there is a slight gap between your jaw, between your 2 teeth, the upper and lower teeth in the back side, which means that your jaw is slightly falling downwards. Now this prevents the unnecessary contraction that falls on the masseter and the temporalis muscle, which usually gets tight and stiff due to synkinesis. The third tip is to practice centering. What do I mean by that? Now, as I told you in the beginning of the video, your one side of the face and the other side of the face are going absolutely in different directions. It's very important that throughout the day, you should make some attempts to bring your face towards the center. That's where centering exercises comes into the picture. But what is the centering exercises? Now here, depending on what stage of your Bell's palsy or synkinesis you are at, what is the capability of your muscles, you have to make attempts to make sure that both the sides of the face comes towards or move towards this midline. A simple practice that you can do multiple times in a day is by practicing gentle air blow like this, or practicing saying O or U. Now all of these things, when you are trying to do, remember one thing. You have to avoid facial deviations. You have to avoid the center of the upper lip to deviate on either side. To do that, you can keep your hand or else a finger in the midline and then practice doing this, which will prevent the jumping of the muscles on either of the directions. That takes me to the next point. Do tongue movements or tongue mobility drills as well. Now, even though your tongue is not paralyzed in Bell's palsy and synkinesis, the tongue has a lot of impact. The tongue is very much impacted due to the paralyzed orbicularis oris muscle, because when orbicularis oris works in coordination with your tongue, that's where you produce a lot of sounds. For example, words like O, U, P, B, M, F. If you see, in all of these things, there is a coordinated movement that's happening with the lip and the tongue. Whenever there is an impact on this lip muscle, it is going to disrupt your tongue movements as well. That's why make sure that you do some stretching and some mobility drills for your tongue as well. For example, moving the tongue out and in, moving the tongue on the corner of the mouth, moving the tongue across the lip region, bringing the tongue out and then scooping the tongue. When you do all these practice, you are building a centering, or else you can say you are kind of activating the corner of the mouth, at the same time the upper lip muscle, which is very crucial for your speech production. It's very severely impacted when you have got synkinesis. And that takes me to the 5th point, and that is lie down often on your tummy and do these 2 practices. Number 1 is lifting your chin backwards and lifting your head, At the same time, sleeping on the side and then lifting your neck side to side. Both of these are the posture correction practices and strengthen your back neck extensors, which are weak and likely to get weaker due to the postural impact, which has a very huge impact on your synkinesis as well. So friends, these were my 5 tips each for Bell's palsy and synkinesis. I hope you found this video helpful. If yes, make sure to like this video, share this video with your friends and family members, and do not forget to subscribe to HealthQ channel. On that note, I'll end this video here, and if you need help for your Bell's palsy or synkinesis, we can definitely help you out. Feel free to reach out to us at www.healthqrehab.com and book your consultation today. Thank you.